I'm in my garden weeding, and it occurred to me this is a great place to show off some of the chop and drop. Some of these kale leaves. I love kale because it gives so many leaves for chop and drop and for mulch. Some of the lowest leaves that have some damage. You can literally just pick them off. And lay them down as a weed block, and they'll also feed the soil as it decomposes. There's another one. Find a section you already cleared. That's clover. We can leave that. And just lay them down. This section I've already done. Hi, bee. Where are you? There you are. So many bees on the borage. It's my little borage forest. Anyway, as you can see, this gives some really good coverage. These leaves are huge. Can't see it, but there's cabbage. And I did the same thing with the cabbage leaves, which are also very, very large. I could leave the bottom cabbage leaves on so that when I harvest it, I've got an impressive photograph to share. But honestly, I'd rather use the bottom leaves as mulch. This is some bolted lettuce. I'm not going to harvest the seeds from it. So you can literally leave it in place to decompose. I do the same with extra borage. There's a borage plant. Chop and drop. Lettuce gone to seed, kale, cabbage. That's in this section. More chop and drop. I have this big field of lettuce going to seed. I'm going to keep this little patch of lettuce and spinach right here. But these, you can pull and lay them down to decompose in place for more chop and drop. Another great chop and drop is sunflower. Before it leaves heads that animals will go after. So if you have extra sunflowers that are small like this, or if you have large leaves, which I do, which are blocking other plants that I'm going to be snapping off, those make fantastic chop and drop. That's the lettuce chop and drop. In about a week or so, I'll be planting beans. You just plant the beans right in it. Make a little hole, put the beans, there you go. There's my little lettuce patch mix. Spinach going to seed. A few baby kohlrabi. The rest of the very verdant garden. And then this chop and drop is weeds. Of course, you have to be careful with these. These are thistle and bindweed. Those go in the garbage. I don't even compost those. Right in the trash. These are okay for my garden. It may not be for yours, but for my garden, I could do chop and drop. Literally got this large pile here. They'll decompose in place, but often I'll just put them in paths. Works really good. Here's the bucket of shame. Bindweed and thistle. Things you shouldn't have in the garden. These are getting a little out of hand. For instance, this is shading a watermelon. So using clippers or your hands, snap off. Sunflowers are hardy. You're not gonna hurt it. You're not gonna hurt it taking off this many leaves. Pull down. Snaps right off. There's no heads, just in time on some of these. Chop and drop. The weeds also make a good marker of where to step, because sometimes you'll have random plants like this kohlrabi and this lettuce gone to seed. But these pile of weeds let you know you've got a nice path. Very young, so they're not too woody. Very young tree branches with lots of leaves. You can even strip them if you want. I'm going to take some of these and start lining. The weeds are encroaching a little too close to my tomatoes. So, it's another chop and drop. In particular, if you have branches coming from the bottom below the graft where they're not going to be true to the tree, it's a really great source of chop and drop branches and leaves. What I wouldn't use for chop and drop, these leaves are huge, but they're obviously being bitten. I think it's grasshoppers, but in case it's flea beetles, I have a lot of nightshade, so I don't want that anywhere else in my garden. So, some big leaves. Bucket of shame. The yellowing is just age. I have no issue using that. Don't use sunflowers once they head, because once you have sunflowers, you'll probably always have sunflowers. Great for chop and drop, but really annoying when they take over every garden. Sunflowers are very aggressive. Look at this pretty one. Hard to see in this light. So if you see a bud and you're worried about it emerging, if you see a bud and you want to use it for chop and drop, just snip the bud off like I just did, and then you can snap the leaf off and use that for chop and drop. This is just set chop and drop along the tomatoes. These sticks might remain come fall, but they'll be easy to clean up. By then the leaves will have given back to Mother Earth in the ground. And I can just pick up the sticks real quick. I love the mega blossoms I have this year. They're really gnarly. Carrots gone to seed. Had to get them out of the way. Chop and drop. Got weeds in the paths, which will fertilize the ground for next year. And then where I plan to grow things, I've got cabbage leaves, kale leaves, lettuce that had bolted that I didn't want to save for seed, forage. And then I'll be filling in this section with some mulch as well, just to give some protection to those kohlrabi. Pretty happy with it.